Ломал, ломал.
Блядь, ты немножко сдох, хорошо. Гори давай автомат.
At one of the positions, the enemy is 150 to 200 meters away from us. I think it's better not to think about how close they are to you, or else your mind will go crazy. At first, I was always thinking how close we were to them, how at any moment they could decide to storm us and we would possibly end up fighting at closer ranges than comfortable. I had great difficulty sleeping at night because I was so afraid of this possibility. So I began to ignore it, thinking about my family, or movies, or literally anything else. I think they, the Russians, tried to ignore this knowledge as well. During my last deployment to the Zero Line, there were fewer direct shooting battles between us and them. It was mostly mortars, artillery, and bombs dropped from drones and FPV drones. We left them alone as much as we could, and I think they did the same. No one wanted to start a bigger fight and give the commanders ideas to storm the other side. We were all much too concerned with how difficult it already was to survive. No one needed to put more firewood into the inferno to make things even worse. There was once we saw an enemy drone above us, and we knew it was watching. It didn't look like the bomb dropper, and it definitely wasn't an FPV drone. I know it knew we were there. It was right above us. We waited in the dugout for 20 or 25 minutes, and then it was gone. We waited further for the inevitable result of artillery or FPVs. But I was surprised that nothing happened. All day, nothing happened. They must have left us alone intentionally. I cannot say why or begin to guess why. Whether they were tired of fighting that day or another reason. But the point of this story is next. That same evening, our own drone was flying, and I was in the dugout with the pilot, and he saw a Russian a few kilometers from us walking with a backpack on his back. He didn't see us, but we saw him. We left him alone. A wasted flight, but it didn't sit well on the mind, knowing this could have been the pilot who spared us discomfort earlier in that day. Hey guys, Nick from B&B here. Just a quick word from our sponsor. I just got my latest TAC pack, and it's packed with some seriously cool gear. TAC Pack is a monthly subscription box that's all about getting you top quality shooting accessories, first aid essentials, and everyday carry gear. This month's pack is no exception. Loaded with products from some of the best brands out there, all geared towards enhancing your tactical setup. And here's the best part. If you're a new B&B subscriber, use the code BEERS to get a free EDC kit worth $65 packed right into your first TAC pack. TAC Pack keeps your kit fresh and functional, so make sure to grab yours and let me know what you think. Remember, use the code BEERS to snag some bonus gear. Cheers. My comrade from another part of the frontline position said that the field in front of his position looked like a watermelon field. The corpses of the dead, from unsuccessful attacks on their trenches and back the other way, remained on the field. No one could come out to pick them up. So for now, the bodies stay there. I saw similar situations in our areas of the front. The cold slows down the decomposition, so the smell of the above-ground cemetery is not too terrible. But you will definitely smell the difference when you come from another district to here. War has a smell. What do you know about fear? The whistling of bullets overhead. The sound of their dull hits on the ground next to you. ricochets from the branches of an old tree, the hum of the afterburner of a jet, which comes at you to fire missiles and rockets, the sound of the tank's diesel engine, which is maneuvering somewhere 600 meters away in the milk of thick fog, preparing to fire. And he sees you with his powerful thermal imaging sight. He knows where you are. And then you hear the clatter of its tracks, the roar of the engine, then deathly silence, and an explosion. It's just the explosion, because you don't hear the sound of the shot. The sound of a long whistle of a 152mm artillery shell that flies on a trajectory in your direction, and all you can do is fall to the ground and pray. The sound of grad rockets firing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 12 rockets. And then impacts. 1, 2, 3, 5, 12. This time they missed. Will they miss the next time? The sharp crack of the mortar and the whistling preceding it are so short that you don't always have time to lie on the ground. The hiss of the walkie-talkie, through which indecipherable fragments of words can barely be guessed. The rustle of the enemy in the bushes opposite you. The crunch of branches a few meters away from the parapet of a freshly dug, shallow trench. Silhouettes of soldiers shimmering in the moonlight. You shoot at anything that makes a noise. Your eyes are swollen and puffy from staring through the thermal imager. A buzzing head full of terrible, terrible thoughts after not sleeping through 2 days. The look of your fellow man, in which, as if in a mirror, you see the same animal fear in your enemy as yourself. What do you know about fear? Getting woken up at 2:30 in the morning by a phone call from my mother, telling me that my older brother and my only sibling was killed near Vovchansk while my father wept in the background of a phone call, is not a memory I am ever going to be able to forget. My family has been completely ruined by this war. The biggest impact is on enemy morale. We will drop bomb after bomb after bomb on top of them. Even if we don't get any of them, the effect on their morale is still negative, and they don't feel safe. As soon as they hear the drone, they hide in cellars or trench dugouts. I was an infantryman before this, and was on the receiving end of drones over 20 times, north of Bakhmut, and I know how demoralizing it is to be watched and harassed constantly. The drones chip away at infantry units in such effective ways that no one wants to assault positions because they know they are watching and waiting. But also, this works both ways. Everything I've mentioned, they do to us as well. I hope you guys found value in that video. This October, I will be returning to Ukraine to report from the front line there. If you'd like to support me in that mission, please consider subscribing to my Patreon account. In addition to that, make sure to join the Discord channel. There's almost 12,000 members in there now, and it's full of all sorts of interesting stuff related to my content. As I always say, every participant of war has a story, and every single story deserves to be told. Thanks for your time, and thanks for watching.